Yes, Thursday, the 28th of November. Hello, everyone. This is your Frontier Opening Bell. Just a quick run through the markets and just get it all today. The BRVM in Cote d'Ivoire was 0.04% in the red, and you can see the swath of red across a number of Frontier African markets. On Wednesday, Nigeria was down 0.35. The BRVM, the EGX30 sank the most this week, so far 1.45%. Today is the final trading day. In Cairo, the market fell below the 30,000 level, the EGX30 that was. The NSE in Nairobi remained on that declined trajectory. Saw a set of profit booking again on Wednesday. NSE also down by 0.35%, still able to hold the 85,000 as well. The BRVM, the Zimbabwe stock market was also down 0.82%. So just a very choppy Wednesday midweek for across the Frontier African markets in the main. But let's get a couple of headlines in from starting with the East African corridor with the IMF and Ethiopia said they've reached a new deal on the second program review. But some news coming through today said that hackers have been able to get into the Bank of Uganda, Central Bank of Uganda, and stole $17 million. Bloomberg is reporting that out of the Ugandan market today, as well as local media reporting that the hackers got into the vault of the Bank of Uganda and stole $17 million. That's one big news we're looking at also from East Africa. In the meantime, Interpol is revealing that Kenyan hackers also stole about 1.1 billion shillings. And some of those funds were sent to companies in China, Nigeria, as well as United Arab Emirates. It's a whole lot of cybercrime world as we speak right now. Cybercrime, a major headache for businesses, in particular, those in the financial services sector, not just in Africa, but around the world. The Farmgate milk purchases up about 13% in the first 9 months, January to September for Kenya, while the troubles with Adani in the US and in Kenya is not offsetting the deal that Tanzania has to get the Indian business group to help revive its container terminals in the East African economy. And finally, in that corridor, Kenya and Namibia in Southern Africa has launched a chamber of commerce for the two countries. That's get trade and business investment and all that, bilateral trade up with across the continent. We need more of those handshakes across the divide, as it were, across the borders. Let's move on to West Africa. Nigerian stocks remain soggy, as you saw earlier, as fixed income continues to rise. The latest 25 rate hike, the final move by the Central Bank of Nigeria until January 2025. Fixed income continue to move up. Yields continue to rise on short-dated government papers, treasuries, open market instruments, as well as bonds. And we got news from the NESD over-the-counter securities exchange that the Farm Milk International has made an offer to buy out the minority shareholders of the company in Nigeria. Farm Milk International is holding about 99.37% of the shares. So the balance of that they want to buy out over a scheme of arrangement that will allow 13 naira to be paid to each of the minority shareholders of Farm Milk Corporations in Nigeria. And that's about 15% premium over the share price of that stock on the NESD OTC at the end of July. This has been filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission, get shareholders' approval. In Liberia, offshore potential for crude oil is set to fuel Africa's deep water energy. Liberia is looking to join the rest of the continent when it comes to hydrocarbon production. And cocoa companies are pouring money into Ghana to avert more losses. Yesterday, the U.S. Department of Labor announced a new framework that will reduce child labor in the cocoa industry out of two of the world's largest producers, Cote d'Ivoire as well as Ghana, combined total 60% of the global cocoa output. Let me go to Southern Africa. You've got a mixed story. South Africa looking to import about 800,000 metric tons of corn from the United States because of the impact of El Nino, while Zimbabwe is reporting that is going to see at least about 4 times crop increase for the summer season because the impact of El Nino is decelerating slightly. Mozambique Central Bank cut interest rates on Thursday on Wednesday for the sixth time so far this year, while the Mozambicans are still protesting the result of the last election. African Bank Group in South Africa says it's delaying its 2025 listing on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. That could be for at least 2 or 3 more years. The CEO says when they do it, they want to do it well, do it right, and get it big. So we've got to wait a couple of more years for the listing of the African Banking Group. Nat Foods on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, on the VFEX, says it's leaving the VFEX and says there's no need to get listed to be listed on the bourse in order to raise money. That's one of the largest food consumer goods company in Zimbabwe. In the meantime, Bridgeforth Capital says taking its preferred shares out of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, that is ZSE, and will list those shares on the VFEX, that's the Victoria Falls Exchange, on December the 17th. Keep those developments in mind as we move on forward. Let's get into North Africa and just grab a couple of headlines for you. Ethiopia and the IMF says they've got a deal on the second review program, while Egypt and Liberia says they've done an agreement on aquaculture cooperation. That's between the North African biggest economy and, of course, West Africa. Libya and Italy, just in Europe, is strengthening ties to boost investments across the Mediterranean. While Morocco says it's gotten $250 million World Bank funding to tackle waste management in the city, in the country, because that's a tourist destination hub, one of the biggest hubs in North Africa and the entire Africa, by the way. And that industrial giant listed on the Morocco stock market in Casablanca, the OCP Group, reporting a strong revenue growth, $6.8 billion for the period ended the month of September, part of knocking it to the upper ground level for the OCP Group, roughly $7 billion. In US dollar terms. Let's see what the full year numbers will look like. But those are your headlines as we get Thursday started, the fourth business day of the week here on Frontier Africa Reports. Do have a great day, everyone.